Internet personalities exist in a very strange paradox. On the one hand, there's a lot of talk and rhetoric about being your authentic self, being you. But on the other, in order to be successful, in order to sell your product and yourself, there is a very, very heavy dose of inauthenticity involved in conveying your message to the world. And specifically, I'm talking about gurus, but it's not exclusive to gurus by any means. There are many people that aren't in the business of really selling anything, but they might have a history channel and talk about things. And for better or worse, whether it's true or not, they have to present an aura of authority and knowledge. A random example of this might be this Italian guy called Metatron, who makes pretty entertaining videos, and they seem to be well researched. I have no idea what his actual credentials are. Is he really an expert on history as he presents himself to be? Maybe he is, maybe he's not. And I guess if you just look at the videos as being entertaining, that's fair enough. But he certainly poses as an expert, and he poses as being an authentic expert. It's a random example, one that came to mind, that isn't as deleterious as, say, the red pill guru types and others who are trying to sell you products and programs and a lifestyle. But the example of Metatron simply illustrates my point. In order to be successful online, and very specifically in the YouTube genre, it's almost impossible to present yourself as something that is less than amazing. And by that I mean a regular Joe. For example, if somebody had a channel, say a history channel, and said, look, I'm just a regular Joe, I just kind of have interest in this stuff. Could it be successful? Possibly, yeah. But it wouldn't be nearly as successful as somebody who's selling himself as an expert, someone in the know, especially when said individual makes lots of videos about this is the way it really was and this person doesn't know what they're talking about. And here you can even see the overlap between, say, people like Rollo Tomassi and someone like Metatron, because the hallmark of a guru is they have to correct the record. And they have to correct the record for themselves, basically, in order to make themselves look better, present better, know more, i.e., they're being the more authentic ones. So by its very nature, the internet, and very specifically YouTube again, lends itself to inflation. It lends itself to inflation of the ego, inflation of attributes, inflation of abilities, inflation of one's wallet. You see this in the comments all the time. I don't know how many times I've read comments about pretty much every other guy making six figures and having this amazing lifestyle. I mean, fully half the population of men on many, many quote-unquote red pill videos in the manosphere. Sometimes I get those comments in my own videos, but they're pretty rare. So inflation is the name of the game. Exaggeration, hyperbole are the name of the game, because that's how you sell yourself. But I want to say that this all comes at a terrible cost. Now, in the case of the Metatron guy, that Italian history channel guy, it's not really a big deal. It's primarily for entertainment. He's a bit of a guru in his own niche, but that's fine. But when you've elevated yourself to something nigh superhuman, and then also say, but you can attain it too. I think Bathrobe Man is a very good example of this, because he was this regular guy and now he's making big bucks and he's got this cult following, refers to himself as a cult leader. Then pretty much everything that isn't that, which is being presented to you as a viewer, as a consumer, is insufficient, is inauthentic, is just not enough. That's the fundamental problem, among several others to be honest, with a lot of these guru types, and also with the nature of the internet itself and YouTube, and how it interacts with human personality and human ego. So Hamza will come around and say, look, Jeffrey is this meme, right? This Jeffrey meme, this guy who just sits in his room and doesn't do anything. And I'm not encouraging people to just sit in their rooms. But if you're not doing exactly his grind set and you've not attained his success, then basically you're insufficient. So what these gurus do is they sell these pills, as it were, of perpetual insufficiency. Everything that you're doing is insufficient. That's basically what the so-called Sigma grind set is. It's selling a false bill of goods in the sense of the reason why you're doing X is because you're insufficient. And if only you grind more, if only you do more, Well, eventually you will get to that next plateau, you will get to the next level, and then maybe you'll be like me, as it were. I'm not saying me, but say Hamza. Maybe you'll end up like Hamza, who is sufficient. He is wise and learned and wealthy and has a girlfriend and jacked and all these amazing things. And if you keep on grinding, you'll end up like that. But until you get there, even if you start with nothing or very little, even if you improve your health, lose weight, get a decent job, all these things, you're still not sufficient because you're not up there. You're not on the pedestal. You're not floating in the clouds with the enlightened Hamza, or take your pick of whichever guru you like. Hamza, Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate. They're not all the same, but there's a lot of overlap. So the way guruism works is to get you hooked on your own insufficiency. And let's be honest, we're all insufficient. The trick is, in my humble opinion though, navigating that insufficiency and coming at least partially to terms with it. Obviously, we all have things that we're not satisfied with in our lives, about ourselves, whether it's material goods, appearance, cognitive abilities, you name it. So ideally, you want to be able to reach some point where, of course, you'd like to improve things. That just makes sense. Hopefully, you'll end up in a better spot in life. But at the same time, not tear yourself up over every little thing that you lack and every little foible you have. Because encapsulated in the so-called Sigma grindset is just that. You're working on yourself because whatever you are is bad. And it's essentially a Sisyphean task. We all know Sisyphus, the guy forced and condemned by the gods to push the boulder up the hill. Gets to the top, rolls back down, he has to do it again. So he's permanently entranced within this task. In fact, the French philosopher and existentialist Camus argues that he's actually content doing that. I'm not sure if the version of the Sigma grindset Sisyphus is actually content. So all these gurus are just feeding into a cycle, a perpetual cycle of, you're insufficient, do this. Okay, you're better off than you were a month ago, a year ago, but you still lack. Constantly moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. And as long as you do that, you won't actually have time to reflect about the underlying reality. And that underlying reality is pretty simple. There will always be a limited number of ultra-successful people. Who ultimately knows why Hamza, bathrobe man, cult leader, took off? I have no idea. But I can also tell you I watched a few Hamza, bathrobe man videos from eons ago about normal stuff, and he was much more pleasant and presentable. It was only after he went viral that he mysteriously transformed into the magisterial cult leader that he is today. But most people aren't going to reach those heights on YouTube or elsewhere. You see all these podcasts about, hey, bruh, the reason why you're only making 80K a year is you're lazy. You got to do the right thing. This is what you need to do to become a multimillionaire. You got to walk all over people. You got to get that grindset going. Selling the idea to people that the only way you can have any sense of contentment in life is if you're exactly like them. If you've attained this, whatever, usually wealth is the big marker. You're a multimillionaire and you've left it all behind. You've ascended, right? And anything in between the state in which you started, say a state of quote-unquote utter failure where you had nothing, you weren't doing anything, and that point is also failure. The only success is embodied in the guru presenting his tale to you and convincing you that he is the only benchmark of success, which is, as I said, what the Sigma grindset ultimately entails. It is laboring, slaving away, pushing the boulder up the hill to attain something that, in all likelihood, you'll never actually attain, all the while being so busy so as to not reflect upon the true nature of reality and yourself. It's just more progress, more progress, more progress. Okay. Are you there yet? Nope, more progress, more progress. Progress is very deceptive. Progress can help you in many ways to both deceive yourself and others. Because in of itself, it's something positive, right? It's good to make progress. It's good to improve your bench press. It's good to run more quickly. It's good to learn a new language. It's good to make more money. These are positive things that generally net positive effects in your life. But if all you're doing is chasing progress and you never reflect, where are you really? And if this goal is ultimately unattainable for the vast majority of people, what are you progressing towards? So progress is a bit of a meme. It's a bit of a mask. And the thing about it, the thing that's so deceptively tempting is it does have these positive side effects that redound to your benefit and the benefit of your environment versus somebody who's just utterly depressed, not doing anything. Everyone can say in that case, this guy is just a failure. It's just not working out. There's nothing positive about that. But if you're making money, you're going to the gym, you're hitting all your benchmarks, your goals every day, well, okay, then that's great, right? Then you're actually moving forward. Are you actually thinking about your state of mind? You're still insufficient. That's why you're grinding. That's why you're progressing. Now, I'm not against progress, but I think this always needs to be weighed against the idea of who you are as a person and how you actually feel about yourself. If your notion of progress is such that there's an unattainable goal at the end of the day and you're perpetually disgruntled and dissatisfied despite your progress, and you're masking that as much as possible by grinding, by progressing, that's probably not a great thing. And that's exactly what most of these gurus sell to you, the viewer, at the end of the day. They're telling you, keep on grinding, eventually you get there. But most people aren't going to be entrepreneurs. Most people aren't going to be multimillionaires. Most people aren't going to be YouTube stars. Not everyone's going to be Hamza, whatever. Most people aren't going to get there on YouTube or in real life. And so there's a lot to be said for at least trying to come to terms with reality on your own terms and in your own way, rather than using other people as a benchmark to reflect upon these things. That's the real risk with a lot of these gurus. Anyways, as always, thank you for tuning in. Special thanks to my patrons and donors on PayPal. You guys are the very best. You keep the channel going, and I really appreciate you. And if you can leave a like, subscribe, comment, etc., share, be much appreciated. The channel is pretty shadow banned, so that would be very helpful. And if I'm still alive, I'll check you out next time. Until then, may the gods watch over you. Bye-bye. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, please consider making a donation or becoming a patron. Thanks for watching.